So, her. So you, you said it would have been better when they were still here, but you said you wanted to call out OF girls for being delusional. You believe 99% of these girls, sorry, Mia, will never find happiness in life. Girls who do OF, softcore or hardcore, will never find true love.
Yeah.
In addition, promiscuous women will never find true love. Your words, not mine.
Yeah.
Do you want to go back and forth with me on this?
Sure, I mean, we can talk. Here's the thing. Of course, there are exceptions. And there are marriages, like you were quoting earlier, they get married, it's like 50% divorce rate, if not more. So a marriage can perhaps happen through that. I just think that to a man is really, really, whether they are interested in sleeping with a woman who is obviously very appealing visually, like stunning, like you are, stunning.
You.
I think it may make it.
Wait, who are we talking about?
Oh, I'm talking about her, for example.
Sorry.
No, well, thank you. I'm just saying, they'll be attracted, they'll be interested for carnal knowledge purposes.
Yeah, carnal knowledge.
And I think the carnal knowledge brain can definitely get people a little bit excited about things and whatever. But I think ultimately men have an extremely hard time actually getting over the legitimate reality of a woman selling her body for $5, $10, $15, $20 a month to any and every single man that has a wallet. I think that's really hard for a man to get over, and I think that's one thing that the feminist culture empowers women to just do what they want and just submit to hedonism, because do what makes you happy. But what is your ultimate goal? If your ultimate goal is not to get married, you don't care, you don't want to have that traditional thing, then I guess it doesn't matter. But I think a lot of women are kind of lying to themselves about that. I think a lot of them do want to find a true love, a man, but maybe not right now. And I get that. But the problem is that if you want something, an ultimate goal, but you're on a pathway that's taking you somewhere else, you're not going to get that ultimate goal. You might, but it's going to be difficult, and it's going to be a lot more complicated. Doesn't mean there's absolutely no exceptions. Like I said, 99%. You could be the 1%. You seem like a lovely lady. It's just that one of those things is men, like it or not, this is something that is hard for them to get past in their mind. It's hard. Yeah.
I completely agree. I mean, in my own experience, I came from a entryway to this pathway with OnlyFans, and I was single. And then I met someone who partook in that journey with me, in the frame that he became my long-term relationship for 3 years.
Not the fucking journey again.
Okay.
Did you do another fucking journey? How many journeys have you done? Everything's not a fucking journey. Nobody took the journey to OnlyFans. What the hell? What is this journey?
I was.
Why is every woman have nothing but journeys? They took the journey with. It's not a journey. You weren't just a small town girl living in a lonely world who took the midnight train going anywhere, okay? You weren't her. It's not a fucking journey. All right, go ahead.
Nonetheless, with the first initial 3 years of this job, I was with somebody who passionately was supportive of it. And so now, in turn, around January, I left that person. And unfortunately, I've come to face the realities of dating and the culture of men who have separate expectations and separate experiences in dating, and that of as well what they are comfortable with in terms of either my past or as well my present with OnlyFans. And with that, fortunately, I've met many great men, and not people that I'm dating actively or any of that format, but just people that I've encountered and who I've been with in any relation to friendship as well. And with that, I've learned it is not necessarily forgivable in sense where certain things, of course, cross boundaries, even my own, of my past with OnlyFans. But a lot of people are understanding and capable of grasping why I made these decisions, why I proceeded with certain activities or certain content media, etc. For instance, I filmed Boy Girl for a short period of time with my partner of a long term. We expected marriage, we expected engagement, we expected all of these things. And so for that, when I speak of that to any man who I'm even considering to be in a dating relationship with, they get that explanation and they grasp typically why I would have done so. Considering marriage is on the table and all these things, they understand that. Regardless,
I've got to ask. I have to, okay? Wasn't your journey to OnlyFans just about money? Wasn't it just a money journey? You were just taking a journey for some fucking cash? Like, is it really, like, you over-complexify the shit out of this, right? Is it really that complex? You wanted a bunch of fucking money, and if you showed your, naked body, you got a bunch, right? It's pretty simple, isn't it? Isn't that the whole journey?
Pretty simple, yes. I mean, if we're not extracting any of the information as for what the money was purposeful for, what my intention with the money was. Yes, my goal was I will post images or videos of my body, whether it be nude or not, and from there we'll get money. Yes, completely. That is 100% what the agreement was.
Can I tell you something about this?
So it was a journey to get a bunch of money by taking your clothes off, right? Like, isn't that the journey? Hang on, it's not the hero's tale. This is not that journey. This is the journey of taking off the clothes for the money. That's the journey here, right?
That was the journey that I took. Yes.
Okay.
That I
All right, that's
proceeded.
fair. That's fair.
You said earlier that you were in a relationship and it was accepted and he initiated, right? You have to understand a guy or a man that initiates something like that within the relationship, he's a disguise pimp.
Well, no.
Okay.
Let me formulate this. I made my decision to proceed with OnlyFans upon my own discretion prior to this person's involvement in my life dating format. So this was entirely my decision.
But it doesn't matter. I want to tell you something. If you were next to a good man with values, even if you initiated it and even if you want to do it, he would persuade you from doing this kind of thing. Because now you're young, you're beautiful, But what's going to happen after 10, 20 years when you no longer have this value in the market and then you have that past? And you explained also something earlier. You said when you meet a man, you explain it to them the right way, why it happened. It doesn't matter what you explain. If it's a high-value man, this stain in your record, you understand what I mean? And you could never take it away. No money you do could erase that thing.
I completely agree. I think it tainted, in a sense, who I am and who I appear to be. That's by
I'm
no
not
means
trying
something-
to
No, of course.
go
I think I'm
Just
very
go.
open and honest about my experiences with it. So
You
I know it
should.
taints the image that I have and the image that I hold with any potential partners and friends and any comrades of any format. So I understand that.
Do you still do it?
I still do it. Yeah.
So
you still
why
do.
do you do? I'm just curious.
Yeah.
Like, what is your?
So-
So I heard you say money.
Yeah, of course. I think simple basis, everybody does something for money typically.
Yeah.
With any job and any occupation that you choose. Of course,
Yeah.
passion. Initially, it was for money. It later drove into passion of discovery of self. And yes, I know we can talk into
What?
journey.
What?
Discovery of yourself.
Was it
So-
the discovery of all the shit that you can buy that made yourself happy? Was that the
She found
great
herself.
discovery of
myself.
self?
She
Did
found
you
herself.
find yourself at a department store when you were spending a bunch
But-
of fucking money that you made? Like,
But
I
I'm-
mean, honestly.
I'm curious
Let's
about-
be real.
I can fix her.
So-
Just
I'm
kidding.
curious about one. I have
Anybody
one
can.
question. I'm very curious. Are you saving? You preparing to your
Yes,
future?
yes.
Or you're
So,
just going to spend and
401k.
doing shopping? Because if you're doing this and putting this stain in your life, at least buy real estate,
Yeah.
save, and don't have kids because your kid's gonna suffer.
Damn, that's
That's
Can we go
like-
back? Hang on. Can we go
But
back
it's
to that?
true.
Listen,
I
I
mean,
have to
in
go back
terms
to
of
this real
just-
quick. When did it stop being about making a bunch of fucking money because simps pay you money to see your naked body to
Of course.
a journey of when did it become self-discovery? Now it's about me trying to get in touch with my inner what? Your inner what?
Not necessarily sexual needs. So inner just, how would I say it? Inner peace and inner tranquility. So for
Peace?
myself, so
Hang on, let her finish.
So for instance, I struggled with insecurities all of my life, anxiety a lot, and I didn't recognize it until I got older. As well, the biggest insecurity or biggest anxiety that I dealt with my life was supporting my parents. Neither of my parents were able to support themselves for a long time. And still continue to struggle, unfortunately. And so for that's what drives me most to continue this work, is to help.
So
help
then,
my family.
hang on. By this proxy, I assume that your parents are very much on board with your OnlyFans career.
They are, thankfully.
Both of you. So your dad is okay.
really sad.
I feel so
It's-
sad.
they're not in the sense where they want their daughter to be doing all these.
They just want to profit off of you.
They do.
That's sad.
It's
That's
sad.
I completely
The
agree.
reality is that's really
So
sad.
hang on. I just want to make sure I got this clear. You
So-
sit down with your old man who just adores you. You're his little girl, the pride of his eye, the jewel that he always wanted. And he sits down with you and he's like, look, Me and your mom, we just can't afford to support ourselves. I need you to fuck some dudes on camera. Can you do
You
that
needed
for
to
me?
disconnect
I mean, that's never actually happened, right?
No, so if I can formulate it properly.
All right.
I made this decision upon my own discretion. I was, I believe, 18 and a half, 19 at that point. I made the decision because I was witnessing what was going on at home. My parents were separated. They do not live together. They've been separate for a long time. Regardless, neither of my parents were doing well. My mom had just been left by her husband. And at that point as well, my father was wondering about everything else with his life and with his marriage. Nonetheless, it led me to what can I do to ensure that not only am I safe, but either parent is safe, whatever goes on with them. Wow. So that
But
was my
does your
decision.
dad work? Is he working?
He
or
works.
What's he do?
He works in sales, just for a cell phone company.
And does your mom work?
So if your
My mom
dad could
is-
push a button tomorrow,
He-
like let's say we got 2 buttons.
Mm-hmm.
Button 1, you stop doing OnlyFans and he's left to his own means. Or button 2, you continue to do OnlyFans and then kind of say, well, here's some money, Dad. Which button does Dad push, 1 or 2?
I think both parents would push the discontinuation of the job.
Yeah,
By
the
no means- they're-
discontinuation. So the thing is that
they're not fully.
while for you, the actualization of taking care of both of the parents might be some kind of like coping motivation, your parents themselves, if they don't want it, how is it good for them for you to do that on their behalf? In fact, like I'm trying to think of this from my perspective. So let's say a daughter of mine comes to me and is like, Dad, you know, you're kind of broke. You're kind of broke. You're just not making it, But here's the thing. I've got this camera, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to hump some dudes on this camera, and other dudes are going to pay me a bunch of money while they masturbate to that. And then we're going to get you out of this poverty situation. I would fucking lose my mind and go, no, I would rather die in the gutter broke with people literally spitting on me than ever see you do that. Is your dad like me?
No, he's not.
Literally, you
That's like my
sacrificed
lit- my-
yourself.
I did.
You sacrificed yourself, and instead of your parents telling you, I don't want you to sacrifice your future, yourself, your body, they literally push you there. Honestly, I wish I would be your mother. I would never let you do it.
What would you do? Would you smack her? Whoa, sorry.
I would,
don't know why.
yes, sorry. I'll tell you
Smack
what I would
around
do.
with
I would tell you what I would do if she was my
But
daughter.
it sounds like your
Belts?
motivation
Because
was
no, no,
financial
no, no.
But I'm
security and
serious right
financial
now, really.
stability. So I
wanna say
understand that too.
I come from a place that it's very, very much taboo, this stuff. I'm not going to tell you that a lot of Israeli girls, even Muslim girls, do it today because, the world, it comes and it happens, But for me, it's a super taboo. And if you were my daughter, I would protect you even if I have to clean houses, do whatever I can. I would never let you do it. And if you ever want advice, I'm always here for you.
Thank you. I mean, I appreciate all of the concern, and I.
Mia, did you say that your parents were kind of absent in your life as well, and they were not were there super?
No, so my parents
supportive?
were a part of my life. My dad was a part of my life. My mom is also.
Like they were involved in
They're both
bringing
involved.
you,
They're
or
just,
they
they're
had
just
their
completely
own.
separated themselves. That's all. So they broke up when I was 2. That's the only distinction. My parents were both involved in my life.
They seem selfish.
It's.
Well, okay.
Well,
I don't-
no,
almost
no,
like-
no,
I don't-
hang on.
uh,
Listen, you're ascribing motivation here where it doesn't belong. So, like, look, just talking me to you, I got to know this, okay? You see, you've engaged in good faith all night. It's been enjoyable to have these combos with you. This is the part where they get a little bit
Of course.
kind of sticky and tough, right? I get that because we have totally different worldviews.
Of course.
But diving into this, you can't be serious and honest here with me that your dad would prefer, or that you can use it as a coping mechanism, that I take care of mom and dad, and that's why I just have to do the OnlyFans. That's fucking ridiculous,
It wasn't,
right?
but or just to, from the beginning, you said
Hang
though
on,
that
hang on,
you
hang on.
did it.
Let her respond. Let her respond.
Or yeah,
I'll let you
she knows where I'm getting at this. She made this decision, alone.
I made this decision both initially for myself, and it also, of course, had the alignment to trying to figure out what's going on with my family.
But you had no guidance.
Man, you should
That's the
start a
problem.
group. Hang on. You should start a group for woman-splaining, because when we're in the middle of a conversation, she came in and woman-splained for you. No, what she really meant was blah, blah, blah.
No, I was
You
just
had an
stating what she
hang on,
said.
you
It
had an
wasn't
entire
her
group
parents.
It doesn't matter.
You
She
had
didn't
an
have
entire
guidance.
group devoted to stopping the mansplaining, and here you are
I wasn't
mansplaining.
I was
and you can.
She had normal parents, not normal, but good parents that really care for her, that would protecting her and avoiding this and not push her to the fire just because they're financially bad. When I got to America and got divorced, I was sleeping in the car with my son until I made it because I didn't want to go and sleep with men and do all these things.
Perhaps you shouldn't take at face value exactly that we're being told the exact truth. It could possibly be that the motivation here is very self-centered, and what people often do if they have self-centered motivation is they move towards some form of altruism to cover the fact that it's actually a self-centered motivation. Actually, I'm doing this for this noble cause, which is this, when really the cause is just she wants the money.
And
so I'm just going to be super direct here. Isn't the ultimate cause here just that you want the money? And the ends of the money really are to benefit you more than anybody, right?
Ultimately, yes, the decision was based off of money. There's no.
But she's almost like
hiding
trying to
that.
buy
Yeah.
the attention of her parents.
By no means. So
like
this is what I do
through
want to
the
say, like,
support
by-
to get the attention.
But
Final
Andrew said
statement.
something
Final
smart.
statement.
Andrew
Nothing
said something smart.
regardless of my. Regardless of my
Andrew
decision.
only says things that are smart.
No, I tell you what was smart that you said. To a lot of girls who do it without being judgmental, it's a lot of the things you say. It's like he said, it's a coping mechanism to justify that.
Thank you, Mountain Tiger.
I completely agree, and I know it is a coping mechanism for many. Justifyingly, just simply put, I did it for myself. I'm not dragging my parents. Yes, my parents do get benefits.
You've been doing some bicep curls lately?
I've been doing a lot of workouts. I lost a lot of
She have a
weight.
gorgeous body.
I'm just curious about this last thing. What
Last thing,
benefits
last
are
thing.
your parents receiving?
They get financial support.
What does that mean, though?
Oh my God.
I don't think it's important to necessarily give exact detail of what I'm giving them monthly.
Well, I
or
would say,
anything
for
like that.
instance, if I bought my dad a Snickers bar, that would be financial support. And then if I said, well, I give my parents financial support in order to justify a thing that I thought was immoral or that they didn't like, but hey, they're a bunch of hypocritical bastards because after all, my dad let me buy him a Snickers bar. Wouldn't you say that that kind of support would be far different than like, I pay their mortgage and take care of their bills? So I'm just asking for this distinction of like, is it to that scale or is it to the Snickers bar scale?
It is.
That's all I'm asking.
It is to the mortgage scale, and it is also to the scale of buying one of the parents' home. So one of my
Okay.
parents doesn't own a home, so I'm buying a home for them. Separate. For the other one, it's mortgage, and that has always been a dream for them,
Yeah.
and that has been a dream for me. I've never lived in a home.
So it was a dream for you. But you said that your parents would not support that if you told them that, right, that you would quit and would.
No, I'm saying if,
Final
if,
point on this.
If my parents were to decide to quit or not to quit, they would absolutely not want me to continue doing this every single day. Absolutely.
So it is
not.
your
So it
choice.
is completely my choice, and that's what I'm saying. By no means am I here to bash my own parents.
No, no.
That's my,
Yep.
never
cool.
my intention.
Anyways, so it would have been better had those two other girls still been here because at least Maya, whatever, I don't know. She engages in good faith and she has a good disposition. It would have been much better to have dunked on the two Australian demon girls than.
But I mean, we're not really dunking on
No,
her.
I
This is
know.
kind of the
I know.
sticky. It's a sticky point of the convo, right? She has been nothing but good faith. I agree, and we've had nothing but good convos the whole night. This was going to be a sticking point, and I'm glad that we got into it. She doesn't look offended. You're not offended, right? Yeah.
I appreciate
No,
the
I'm not.
good
I'm not
faith, truly.
saying it so much from her angle. It would have just been much better to have gone
Exciting.
in on these two, on this topic, especially since Michaela specifically wanted to call out the OF girls for being Delulu.
I did.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie.
But too bad the Australians beat feet back down under because they couldn't fold here.
Honestly,
you shut that down immediately.
It wouldn't even been fair. They wouldn't have had any responses. They would have just been like,
Exactly.
I would have been surprised.
What? I wasn't even listening. What?
no, their mouths are literally hanging open, just like,
I'm hungry. They would have
whatever.
ran away in that moment.
They're trolling. They're trolling.
Yep.
You think they're trolling?
I think they're trolling. Yeah.